Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. OPEC Plus has announced another oil production reduction. So across OPEC Plus countries, they have determined that they are going to reduce production by 1.16 million barrels a day. Now, if you remember, back in October, OPEC Plus had announced that they were going to reduce production by 2 million barrels a day, followed by, in December, Russia stating that they were reducing production by 500,000 barrels a day. So the grand total across all of these countries and production cuts, that means that since September of last year, that oil production is now being reduced by 3.66 million barrels a day. So, why is this happening, and what does it mean to you? Well, first of all, it's happening because the U.S. Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates to reduce demand. The more prices go up, the less you buy in volume. But I'll get into that a little bit more. So as the price of oil goes down, OPEC Plus, these countries depend on oil for most of their revenue. So they are reducing production to increase the price. The capitalist trope of, supply and demand, which I've done videos on stating how this is all a myth that is driven by capitalist entities. Lower demand just means, or lower supply just means that there's less of a supply. It should not mean an increased price, but it does, because you don't have a say in it. That's it. Anyway, so at this point, WTI crude is trading at around $81 a barrel, and Brent crude is trading at about $85 a barrel. So this response was immediate. Oil went up by about $5 a barrel as soon as this was announced, even though the actual production cut is not taking place immediately. The price increase does happen immediately. So this is a response to the U.S. Federal Reserve raising interest rates. Now, of course, Wall Street investors have been, just trying. They've been counting on the Federal Reserve reducing the interest rate. But if the Federal Reserve reduces interest rates, then that means that inflation will continue. The interest rate, the increase in the interest rate is intended to destroy demand, which it has been doing. Of course, as you destroy demand, you also destroy employment. So fewer people are employed. Well, as prices on oil go up, then that will increase inflation, which counteracts anything that the Federal Reserve is doing. But the increased oil prices also, through inflation, also serves to reduce demand and hence employment. But what this really means is that Oil is energy. Everything that you purchase, goods and services, relies on energy in some way. So that means, all of what this means is that between the Federal Reserve and oil production cuts, that you will be paying higher prices. Some analysts are predicting oil to increase to between $90 and $100 a barrel this year. There's a lot of back and forth about that. Some of it based on China coming out of lockdown and increasing demand, but then there have been reports that their demand will not increase as much as predicted. But if it had stayed higher, if Chinese demand had stayed higher, then oil would be probably going above $100 a barrel. Still, a few months ago, maybe only a few weeks ago, oil was trading at around $75 a barrel. In fact, only a few days ago, it was trading around $75 a barrel. So if oil goes up to $100 a barrel, that means your prices could potentially increase by 25% this year. Ready for that? And the more prices go up, the more layoffs get announced, even though we're already witnessing major layoff announcements especially from the tech sector, but it is creeping across all of the retail, industry, across various industries. So Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve Chair, really doesn't have much that he can do. He can't really reduce the interest rates because that will cause inflation to continue and skyrocket. Meanwhile, other countries, the OPEC Plus, they respond by reducing production, which causes more inflation. More inflation, you pay more, and demand goes down in volume. So, less demand, less employment. No matter what, you're going to be paying more, especially if you talk about, real wages, real income. Well, wages will be frozen. More people are going to get laid off across various industries. Biden doesn't have any more leeway to play around with by releasing oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We are already at a 40-year low in the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We're at 1983 levels on that. Is he going to completely empty out the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? You can't. That would not be a very good idea. And I would be interested in seeing what the response from the Republicans would be on that one. Meanwhile, if you remember a few months ago, the G7 had imposed a $60 a barrel price cap on oil from Russia. Well, Japan, a member of the G7, is buying oil from Russia at above the $60 a barrel price cap. Why would they do this, you ask? Well, if you're paying $62 a barrel from Russia as opposed to $81 to $85 a barrel from other oil-producing countries, they're saving a lot of money. So they have bought 750,000 barrels of Russian oil. That's and one purchase. That's but are they going to continue buying Russian oil? Why not? India is, China is, lots of other countries are. You shouldn't be too upset about this, because if they are buying their oil from Russia, that impacts the price of oil elsewhere. If you've got demand, but you're reducing the number of suppliers that you can buy from, you force your own oil prices, energy prices, to go up. So if they're buying from Russia, they're not buying from Saudi Arabia or OPEC plus. So that keeps the price of your oil and energy down. So if the price cap and the buying of Russian oil is enforced more, then your energy prices will go up. And chances are it also means more companies will be laying off because of reduced demand. Something else that is occurring is that Germany is buying more oil from Kazakhstan. Well, the oil from Kazakhstan goes through the Druzhbal, something like that, oil pipeline, which goes through and is owned by Russia. The oil coming from Kazakhstan through the Russian oil pipeline means that Russia gets paid a transport fee for the oil going through their pipeline. There is no way, every step that the West takes to try and crush Russia, it just winds up backfiring. You point one finger at somebody, and you've got three fingers pointed back at you. So this is just not working out. All of these sanctions do not work, but you are benefiting from the fact that those sanctions are backfiring. You can get upset about it, but you're going to get upset at inflation. Which one does more damage? I would say that I say lift all the sanctions on all countries. Venezuela, Iran, Iraq, etc. Just stop all the sanctions on Russia and China, no matter who. Lift the sanctions and let things happen the way they should. Now, some things that you should be aware of is that Saudi Arabia owns the largest oil refinery in the United States. In addition, Saudi Arabia has announced that they are going to build a large oil refinery in China. So you can get angry, but you have to admit that Saudi Arabia is playing their cards in a pretty smart way. What could happen? I've pointed out in the past that many times, over 90% of inflation is caused by capitalism. You can throw that thing out about capitalism has lifted so many people out of poverty. Poverty is primarily a lack of money. If you, it's like, no, capitalism actually forces people into poverty. So what could happen, which would limit inflation, would be, putting a cap on profits, for a percentage cap on how much profit a corporation can make. Maybe a 10% cap. We have had price caps imposed by a U.S. president in the past. Richard Nixon did it. So why can't we do that now? Because Wall Street doesn't like it. So as prices continue to increase, the price of energy, the price of anything goes up. If the price of inputs like energy goes up by 10%, then the producers, the capitalists in America are going to increase prices by 15%. Just breakfast cereal went up by 20% starting in January. So there is no other way to stop this. You can keep on increasing the interest rate, destroying demand, destroying jobs. You can keep on increasing the price of oil, but none of that is going to bring inflation under control. How much of a concern is this to Joe Biden or Congress or Wall Street? They have no concern about this. In fact, very much the opposite. Look at the stock market. It's up, still up. It is up by 1.4% since the start of the year right now. So, the Wall Street investors still keep making money while you get laid off. Your wages are frozen. You're paying more in every conceivable way. Anyway, so we cannot expect this to end if the Federal Reserve keeps on increasing interest rates to reduce demand, and that forces oil prices to go down. Then OPEC Plus will continue to announce production decreases, which will make you pay more. It's an endless cycle. Anyway, share this video, talk about these subjects. If you can afford it, please donate whatever you can to help expand this channel and my presidential campaign, and I will catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day.